Hi folks, welcome back to the shop here at Project Pine Hills. Today we're talking about this Klein Tools Fastbit Tru-Grip screwdriver. Now we've had this screwdriver on the channel a couple times before, and we've talked about how it's the first ball grip from Klein. It's made in Japan. It's got this 3 locking ball bearing collet on it. And what's great about this screwdriver is just pull this gray collar back. You can flip it around. You don't have to unlock the collet to push the bit back in. And you have this double-ended bit. It's great lockup on the bit on this screwdriver. It also comes with this number 2 or JIS bit. That's a Japanese industrial standard. It's machined really well. You can see the bit tip is not magnetic, but if I take this screw and I put it on this bit, you can see how well this bit fits into this screw. The screw stays on this screwdriver. I can even hold the screwdriver up by the screw, and we can even turn it up, and you can see that's excellent fitment on the bit of this screwdriver. And you can drive just about any kind of bit. For example, I have this 13mm Japanese anvil, and you can see that inserts fine into this Klein ball grip and gets an excellent lockup on the screw. Very little play. In fact, there's no play if you're using this as a screwdriver. You don't feel that. And of course, I can also take bits and flip them around and drive them down. They fit in there perfectly the other way. You can also do 3.5-inch long bits, EDC. We can put these in there. You can see that stores in there. You can take it out, flips around, and it works fine on this driver. It'll work basically with anything that's heck. This Klein quad socket works fine in here. It's got excellent lockup. Push up on this gray collar on any bit, it'll get a little better lockup. Here's a Klein 6-in-1 metric flip sockets. We put that in there, locks up great on this. Now we also compared it to this Wiha CentroFix. And one of the drawbacks to the Klein that we talked about was if you take 1-inch bits, like with this Klein 14-in-1 adjustable screwdriver, it's got 12 bits here in the carousel. If I take a bit out, you can see if I put it in here, it goes down in there, and you can just see the tip of it there, so it gives you an idea of how deep it is. It's locked into place, but bits go in here about 1.25 inches before they bottom out, depending on what kind of bit it is. But you can take 1-inch bits and put them in this Wiha CentroFix, and it'll drive them no problem. It's one of the advantages to the CentroFix. But we had a viewer that had a question in the comments, and he asked, what if you took 2 1-inch long bits and put the tip down first into this driver and took a second 1-inch long bit and pushed that down in here? Would it work? And it does. So this can drive 1-inch long bits, provided that you put 2 of them in here. It's using this first bit as sort of a spacer that allows you to operate in that way. You don't have a lot of extension out here, but it does work. And you can see how that compares with the Wiha CentroFix in terms of the extension of the bits. You can see here that you get a little more bit extension when the Klein Tools ball grip than you do the Wiha CentroFix. Now if I try this 5/16 DeWalt socket, it'll go in here, but then it has play in it. But we can resolve that by using a standard Klein bit as a spacer and then put this 5/16 behind it, and now it locks into place. So for example, if we take this Klein Tools Impact 11-1 ratcheting screwdriver, we take one of these bits out of the end, and of course they're designed to work with your impact. If we take that and put it in the Klein Tools ball grip, you can see it clicks into place, but there's play in there. So now we can take this out, take a Klein Tools 1-inch long bit as a spacer, put that in there, and then this socket will lock right into place. So you could use these 1-inch long bits as a spacer on this Klein ball grip screwdriver. Now will this work with all 1-inch long 1/4-inch bits? Here you can see I have 3 different types of bits. We have a Milwaukee bit there on the left, a DeWalt bit, and then the Klein Tools bit here on the right. And we'll try these and see if they work. We know this Klein bit works, but let's try the other 2. Now if I take this Milwaukee 1-inch long impact bit, we put it down in there, and I put another one behind it. You can see it locks into place, but there's not a lot of extension there, and there's also play in that bit. So those bits together do not work. Now if I take one out, we put the Klein bit behind it, we have the same problem. You see it's too recessed in there. And that's because these Milwaukee bits have a lot of extension here that fall down into the center cylinder of the collet on that ball grip screwdriver. All right, let's try these DeWalt bits. I'm going to take this DeWalt bit, put it in here with the bit in first, and then we're going to try the second DeWalt bit after that. And you can see it doesn't lock in. It stands up too high. And I think that's because the corners of this hex here bottom out in the round cylinder that's inside this screwdriver. So if you look down in the collet of this screwdriver, you can see there's 3 locking ball bearings in there that this collar releases when I move it. You can see 1 ball bearing right there. And if I turn it, you'll see it's got a flat hex side. And if I turn it some more, you'll see another ball bearing in there for 3 ball bearings total, then another flat side, another ball bearing. So they're in there in a triangular formation. If you look in the center, you see a round circle. That's a sleeve below the hex where bits bottom out. That's where those DeWalt bits are stopping. Now, as long as you have one of these style of 1-inch long bits acting as your spacer, you can drive these Milwaukee impact bits that are 1-inch long. They will lock into place. And it's the same for the DeWalt bits. They will also lock into place too. as long as you're using one of these 1-inch bits as your spacer. Here's a bit tip that's actually a 1/4 inch hex, and you can see it's not going to work because it bottoms out on that sleeve in the screwdriver and you can't put another bit in behind it. So you have to use a bit like this #1 Phillips that can pass through that center round sleeve where the bits bottom out, and then put a bit on top of it. So the Klein ball grip will work with 1-inch long bits that are like this Klein Tools bit that have this notch here that's about 8 millimeters from the bottom of the bit. And the amount of hex you need for a spacer is just about 14 or 14.5 millimeters. Here's a couple of other bits that won't work. This Milwaukee here on the left and this railer in the center. You can see the hex extends too high. The hex needs to be just as high as it is here on this 1-inch long bit. This is just the right amount of length of hex for the bit to act as a spacer. So for example, if I put this railer bit in here, it falls down in there, then you can't follow up with another bit. It's not going to lock in there. So the amount of hex on this 1-inch long bit is just the right amount for it to act as a spacer. Now this ball bearing locking system is not new for Klein. They came out with this adjustable link screwdriver back in 2015 and they won an award for it. And this has 6 locking ball bearings. So if I push this ring in, I can pull out this shank up to an 8-inch screwdriver shank. If I push it out, I can draw this back in down to 4 inches. And because of the way this is designed, it can hold any hex. Now if we look down in the collet here, you'll see there's 6 ball bearings on each side of this hex. So the 3 upper bearings release when I pull this up, and the 3 lower bearings release when I push this down. So it has 3 bearings higher up here and then 3 bearings that are lower in here. And that gives this excellent lockup. So if I take this annex bit that's all hex and put it in here, and push out on the collar, it'll slide right down in there, and I can adjust this to any length that I want. And it will bite that bit, and it's rock solid. There is 0 play in this. In fact, less play than the Wiha CentroFix or the Klein Tools ball grip screwdriver. I mean, this is absolutely 0 play. So for example, I can put anything in here. I can take this hex from DeWalt, put this 6-inch bit extension there, and it's rock solid. Absolutely 0 play in that. And it'll work with any hex. So I can take the blade out of this ball grip screwdriver, put that in here because it's mostly hex. And the same thing, I can extend this down to any length that I want in this driver. And when I lock it up, all 6 of those ball bearings are engaged and it's rock solid. Now it doesn't work as well with these bits that have a round shank on them because there's a limited amount of hex here on the end, but it will work, but that takes a little more finesse. So if I put this in here, I can feel it click. If I get it on the hex there, it locks up, no problem. If I extend it on down, well then it'll still grab it, but it's really not usable. But if I pull this up, then that hex might get misaligned. You got to turn it until the hex lines up so that it comes back up through that hex collar, and then it'll come out. But if I get that hex on there at the right height, it locks up rock solid as well. It just doesn't work as smooth as a hex driver. Like this vessel has a 9mm anvil in here, but it doesn't matter. It's all hex. So I can put this in here and it will go all the way into this screwdriver as far as I want it to go and come back out. So if you're looking for something that has absolute lockup, this USA made Klein screwdriver they've had out for a while, and you can buy separate bits for it. This just comes with the slotted and the Phillips bit. As you can see, I can flip that around, no problem. I push it out. I pull this down to take the bit out. I push the collar up to put the blade in. It's that simple. And when you let loose, it's locked in. I'd like to see Klein improve upon this. It'd be interesting. They do sell just this handle, so you can buy that. But it'd be nice to see this handle made shorter and some improvements made on this to where it would work better with these standard power lock hex systems. Now, of course, would all work with this Klein ball grip. I have this 711L bit extension, and it will go in here and lock right into place. And of course, it can drive any 1-inch long hex bit. Just pop that in the end there, it locks in. And the benefit of the 711L is you can pull this collar back, which reveals this 1/4 inch square adapter for sockets, and you can pop on any 1/4 inch socket. That's one of the icon sockets from their new set. What else will work on here? Let's say you want to add a ratcheting feature to the screwdriver. I have this 711L ratcheting hex adapter. If I put this on, I can then take a 1/4 inch, 1-inch long bit, put that in there, and I can take this collar here and turn left, and now I can set this up to where it ratchets. And I can rotate this back the other way, and of course that loosens the screw, puts it in loosening mode. So it's a really nice option here where you can add ratcheting to any screwdriver. Of course, we could take this off and put it on any screwdriver. I could put it on this vessel, add a ratcheting feature to the vessel, you name it. So it also has a magnet in it that passes magnetism to the bit. So I'll leave a link in the description so you can check this out. Now we've shown this before, but you can also take this Icon mini pass-through ratchet and take the extension off of it, and that'll also lock into this Klein ball grip. and then you can drive those icon sockets with it. So you have lots of options with this new Klein ball grip screwdriver. So there you have it, just a quick look at putting 1-inch long, 1/4-inch hex bits in these two drivers. We have two other videos on the channel where we go in depth on this Klein ball grip and we do a comparison of both these drivers. I'll have a link to those in the video below. I'll also have a link to both these drivers in the description below. Let me know in the comments which one of these locking bit holders you prefer. And please remember to like and subscribe. Those actions help me to continue to bring content to you here on the Project Pine Hills channel. And with that said, I'll see you in the next video.